Hi everyone. This time I will help you to prepare your strategy for longer races, and this is mainly focused on FIA races. But just because you have few shots at those, whereas with the Race C, you can do them as many times as you like and experiment different strategies. I'm surprised to see that sometimes even high-rated drivers are choosing the wrong strategy, and this means that with a couple of tips you will be able to jump a lot of positions and finish ahead of drivers that may be faster than you but are pitting at the wrong time. The first step is to recreate the same conditions of the race. So go to sport mode, choose the manufacturer or the nation's race, and take note of all the information available for that specific race. So number of laps, track conditions, fuel consumption, tire wear, and tire compounds allowed. You can also get the same information if you look at the Gran Turismo Sport website. Once you get this information, go and create a practice lobby with the same exact characteristics of the race. This doesn't need to be an actual practice race lobby, it might be just a practice one, but needs to be an online lobby. And that's because if you do a time trial or a custom race offline, you don't have as much freedom to choose particular option. For example, tire wear can go over times 10 for some reason. Once you set up the lobby, go to the track and try to make as many laps as possible using the softest compound available for that race. And first thing to check after the first lap is the amount of fuel that is left. You can see that using the same menu used to change the fuel map using the left and right directional buttons. If there's enough fuel for all the laps, you will be able to opt for a no-stopper strategy. Otherwise, you are forced to make at least one stop. So try to make laps with a soft compound to have a feel on how the tires are degrading and if they can sustain the whole amount of the race, or they're too worn and you can't control the car anymore. If you can handle worn tires, you need to understand how much of your lap time is affected and if it's worthwhile to make a pit stop or not. Bear in mind that the time that you lose during the pit stop varies from track to track and doesn't just include the time that you spend in the pits, but also the time to reaccelerate and get out the racing speed again after you exit the pits. And that is especially true if the pit lane exits in middle of a big straight. For example, one of the Tokyo Expressway layout has a gigantic straight and you lose a lot of time there. Try also to give a go to the other compound tires. Sometimes despite of the lack of performance, you will be able to be more consistent for a longer time. And you will lose some time at the beginning, but you will make up for it by avoiding the pit stop or by taking advantage of the fact that semi-used harder tires may be faster compared to worn softer tires. If you cannot do a no-stopper with the hard compound either, then you're forced to make a one-stopper. In that case, we need to understand which lap we should pit. What I suggest you to do is to use the same compound for both stints and pit at the exact middle of the race for races with even number of laps, or make a pit stop a lap earlier for races with odd number of laps. The last one allows you to take advantage of a strategy called the undercut, which is particularly effective in GT Sport due to the exaggerated tire degradation of FIA races. This consists in pitting a lap earlier than expected, for example lap 3 of 7, to take advantage of all the people that are pitting later. This will create a situation where, while the people in front of you have worn tires and making slower lap times, you are at the back making faster lap times due to the fresher tires. If executed correctly, this strategy will make you jump your opponent when he will eventually go to the pits. This strategy has its own flaws though. So it's true that you have an immediate gain in the middle of the race, but at the same time your opponent will have fresher tires compared to you in the end of the race, and will gain time against you at that time. But on the other hand, they will still need to overtake you. Another problem that you might face is the additional traffic that you might encounter once you go out of the pits. The lap after the pit stop is by far the most important and crucial time of your race if you use the undercut. And this lap can be easily ruined by a mistake or by the traffic that you most likely face in front of you, and becomes more of a problem in this case because people in front of you will have worn tires and you can be forced to fight with those guys and thus lose precious time to jump people over the pit lane. To recap, what I suggested to do is to create a practice lobby with the same conditions of the race, run with all the compounds available, Take note of the lap times to understand if you can avoid a pit stop altogether or you're losing too much time, and if you need to pit, consider to undercut by no more than a lap and never pit in the second part of the race. And this wraps up for this video. If you enjoyed this, feel free to check out the rest of the videos in my channel, where I give other tips and tutorials that can be used not only on GT Sport but on other racing games as well. Thanks for watching.